What up, you guys? This is Crow here from Crow's Archery and Motorcycle Adventures, and today we are going to be discussing one of my personal sayings that I've came up with throughout the years. Alright, so before we go ahead and jump into this, like, share, comment, subscribe over at the YouTube channel. If you haven't, I would much appreciate it. So anyways, what is this saying? This saying is, when you reject yourself, you reject what is meant. Okay? And that is a very, very, very important concept to grasp and understand, because if you live your life going against what is best for you, then you are never going to actually get what it is that you want, desire, and deserve. All right, and where a lot of this is stemming from is actually stemming from a good personal friend of mine. She and I, we just had a conversation, and she was kind of telling me about how she feels like, she's like, why is it that every single time I end up liking a guy, that it always turns out to be a dude who is just god-awful and terrible for me? Okay, and basically what I had to tell her, and let me give you a little bit of background first. This woman, she is absolutely awesome. She is truly an amazing woman, and I have very rarely met people of her caliber of character. You know, she is just that, she's just awesome. I love her to death. She's great. She's a very good friend of mine, and I obviously am doing everything I can to try to help her in regards like this. But what I had to tell her and really talk to her about were things that, you know, she kind of just was a little uncomfortable talking about. Not that she wouldn't do it, but because it was one of those things that are just really deep and personal, and I totally understand. But basically, what it boiled down to is, this woman in particular, she is very known for being a very loving and giving person, and she has a bad time of, you know, finding people that she dates that just really treat her bad. Okay? And what that stems from is a lack of love for herself. Okay? And what does that mean when we think about that from a different level? What that means is that she has a problem of giving out love to the point to where she's doing it from a standpoint because she's never really, I guess, felt it or had it herself, is the best way of putting it. All right? And the thing is, she came to me and she asked me, she's like, how can I break this habit? Okay, and I feel like that's also a very important lesson when we stop and think about this, is because there are plenty of bad habits that we all have that we all wish that we could break, but just end up never doing so. And the reason that we don't do that is due to the fact that we get so comfortable and complacent in an ideology or things that we experience in life that we become afraid of the unknown. Okay? And the thing about that is, a lot of that stems from failure of possibilities. Like, for example, sometimes when you get so used to something, you just continue to attract that in your life because it's the easiest thing. It's what you know. You've programmed yourself to be attracted to these things. But in all actuality, you are just rejecting yourself. You see what I'm saying? When we stop and we say, oh, I want better, I want something different, I want, you know, this, or I want that. The thing is, a lot of the times we end up chasing the wrong things for the wrong reasons. Okay, for example, when you see somebody that you're attracted to and you're trying to give them all of your love and then they give you nothing in return, okay, the question is, why are you chasing that? You're chasing it for the wrong reasons. You're chasing it because it's a problem with you. All right? When you are to a point to where you are actually ready for what is meant for you, you are going to think about yourself a lot. Not in the sense of being selfish and self-centered and all of that, but you are doing so from a place of understanding that you are deserving of what it is that you expect from someone else. And a big part of that is knowing, hey, this is not serving me, so I must walk away from it and mean it. Doesn't matter how much you have love for something or not. You have to be able to respect yourself enough that you can walk away. And a lot of people in today's world get that messed up and confused because of all the things that are pushed on social media. You know, like I had mentioned before, over on TikTok, you got a whole lot of really terrible and disgusting women teaching other girls how to be just god-awful people, like gold digging and all of that. And the thing is, you'll notice with them that they are all very unhealthy people. Okay? Keep that in mind. Alright, they are going after things for the wrong reasons, and thus, very, very, very unhealthy people. And as I just mentioned before, you know, a lot of us have this feeling that we are afraid of failing. We are afraid of the unknown. We are afraid of this. We are afraid of that. Well, the thing is, try to look at it from this standpoint. If you are asking yourself questions of, well, when is it going to be my turn? When am I going to find somebody that values me for who I am? When am I going to do this? When am I going to do that? The thing is, you are already failing in that regard. So, what is the difference from shifting your thinking and trying something different and having the possibility of failure when you're already failing? There's only two things that can happen. One, you're doing something different, so you could get a different result, or B, you find a way not to do something. It's that simple. It's truly that simple. You know, a lot of us tend to overcomplicate things that don't need to be overcomplicated. You know, I've been guilty of that through my life. And it took a lot of work to actually break that. You know? And to me, one of the biggest secrets of breaking bad habits and, you know, breaking stuff like that is literally just asking myself that simple thing that I just asked you. If I'm already failing doing this over and over and over again, at that point, it's nobody else's fault but my own. But the thing is, it's like, what if I do this instead? Again, when you do the same thing over and over and over again and you expect a different result, that's literally the definition of insanity. We know this. But sometimes, if you know this, what you have to do is you have to step back and be like, you know what? I need to try doing this instead. And at that point, if I'm doing something different, then maybe a different result will come. You know, one of the big problems that I mentioned about this woman that I'm referring to, you know, like I said, she's one of the best people I've ever known in my whole life, and I love her to death. She's great. She's wonderful. But again, she has the problem of going out here and giving just all of that to the wrong people who end up taking advantage of her or treating her terribly to the point where, you know, cops got to get involved and all of that. And that's when you have to stop, her specifically, she has to stop and be like, you know what? I realize that I'm out here giving all of this to people who are undeserving. And, you know, I know in today's world, there's a lot of people out there being like, well, you know, everybody is deserving of love. That is simply untrue. Let me ask you a question. If that was the truth, do you have love for people such as pedophiles? No, you don't. No, you don't. And I'm not saying that everybody is to that extent or extremity, but there are other forms of bad and evil people that could be placed in the same categories, just in different ways. So no, not everyone is deserving of love. Some people are deserving of eradication. Some people are deserving of exactly what it is that they give out to the world. And that's just how it is. But this is a perfect time where that lady, and if you are in a similar position, have to step back and you have to ask yourself, it's like, okay, what is it that I'm doing wrong? What you're doing wrong is you are not taking a look within yourself and realizing that the reason that you are doing this is because you are stuck in a habit of seeing other people that could possibly have the same issue as yourself. And so you put yourself in this mentality of wanting to be a fixer. You won't fix people. You're not here on planet Earth to fix people. You're here to always work on yourself and become the best version of yourself that you can be. And if that means that you have to go through a lot of terrible things, or you have to, be by yourself for a while, then you have to get to a point to where you are comfortable with that. So, example, you will never truly attract what is meant for you in this life until you are able to come to the table with a full cup. You see what I'm saying? Because your worth and your destiny is not going to come from someone else. It has to come from yourself and from within. And when you are not out here taking care of yourself and respecting yourself, you are rejecting yourself. And when you reject yourself, you reject what is meant for you. And the thing is, what is meant for us is not always what we want or what we think. It's not. It's not. You see, a lot of us, we put this image in our head of, oh, this is exactly what I want, especially with people. You know what I mean? Like, you have this list created in your head. You have this ideal look. You have this ideal, all kinds of stuff. And at that point, you set yourself up for failure from the jump. You set yourself up for failure from the get-go. And you forget that the most important thing is just being who you are. Living in who you are. And understanding that, guess what? Sometimes the things that we want and need always change throughout our life. It's kind of like buying a new cell phone. Think of it like this. So you go out and you get like the newest, latest, and greatest cell phone. Well, guess what? The very next year, there's another newest, latest, greatest cell phone. And you're always wanting to replace that cell phone. The question is, why are you wanting to replace that cell phone? You're wanting to do it because that's what's being told to you to do. Not because you actually need to. And a lot of people get lost in that. And you can view all kinds of things in the same light as far as that. So like I said, the best thing that you can do for yourself and to get to where it is that you want to be, you can't reject yourself. You can't sit there and keep doing the same things over and over again expecting a different result. You have to understand what it is that you want, even if that means that you got to sit down, write it on paper, and all that. You have to continuously progress, even if it's just like a small, minute thing every single day. You have to make a bunch of little goals to get to the end goal. All right? You got to put in the work. So don't complain about the results that you don't get based on the work that you didn't do. And that starts right here from within yourself. Either way, I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. Peace.